What's going on?
Don't worry about stealing gas. We'll just siphon again and then put it in someone else's car.
I got a shirt in the van. The day got the shirt. Got a boot print on it. Won't come on.
We mic this thing.
Open mic number 5, the 5th one. Hey, last one was like kind of depressing, so I'm gonna try to not be so sad. People have actually been like hitting me up with feedback on this, so even though they've got like, I don't know, like 15 views or something, I also haven't really been promoting them. But yeah. Anyway, if you're listening to this or you're watching it, thank you so much for checking it out. I should have like a better background here that's not my TV screen recording, but whatever. So yeah, open mic number 5. First things first, I'm just gonna like rhyme off some shit to listen to. So I think the last open mic I had said that the new Basic White album was coming out. It's out now. It's been out for a couple weeks. It's called The Second Half, and it's really, really, really fucking good. So if you never listened to Basic White at all, and you're like a rock fan, they're just like a good party band, man. And not enough nice things I could say about those guys. So go check out The Second Half. It's awesome. I think it's like 10 songs. It sounds fucking great. It sounds really, really good. And we actually there's like a common thread through like all these like news things I'm gonna throw at you there, which we'll get to that in a bit. So yeah, go check out Basic White, The Second Half. Really solid first album for those guys. I'm really happy for them. Also, our good friends in Dime put out their second single last week called White T-Shirt. And Dime those guys are really good friends of ours. Drake drums in that band as well. And then Carl, their bass player, had like a huge part in doing the Lost Arts EP. And I fucking love those guys to death. They're a pop band, really, really solid. Cam's a great songwriter. Alex is a great guitar player. All those guys are fucking wicked. So go check out their new single. They keep having this hilarious problem with Spotify. So like they are more like with their distributor, but it's for anybody that's not familiar with kind of like how streaming works. Basically, when you have a song, you don't just like upload to like Spotify or whatever. You find a distributor, and there's like a bunch of them. There's like CD Baby or DistroKid or Indie Pool, or there's a bunch. Sometimes you have to like pay. There's like different kind of packages that you could pay for. Some you don't pay for, but then they kind of take like, 10% of your revenue or whatever, which like honestly, like we're not making any revenue right now. So, okay. And it's, for who we're with, it's we don't have to pay, but they have like 10% of our revenue or whatever, but we're not bringing anything in right now for streaming. So whatever. But anyway. So that's kind of how it works. So you kind of sign up, and then when you have something that you want to send out, they like send you sort of like a form to sort of just like really quickly fill out like song name, all that bullshit, and you send that back to them with the WAV file or whatever, and then like a date that you want it released. Generally a few weeks in advance, and yeah, they put that out for you, and they put it like everywhere. So it's just like day of release comes in your Spotify, your Apple Music, your Deezer, you're like everywhere. And that's how it works. So when Dime went to put out their first single, I Won't Stay, a few months ago, sorry, there was like a problem, and it went under a different artist name, which was hilarious because their like good pop song would play, and then right after it was Ass and Titties, and that was fucking awesome. So it was like you got this like quality pop song, and then it was like ass and titties, ass and titties. So you'd think, so that got all sorted out, and they're like on their own artist page now. But so then they put out this single last week, and like I got home from something, and I was like, oh yeah, fuck, they put it out. So I was gonna go like find it and stream it. And I go to Spotify, I type in Dime, and it's like not there. It's just the first song. I'm like, that's fucking weird. And so I go back to their Facebook, and it was like, follow these links, and it happened again. So their song got uploaded to like a different Dime. And it happened all over again, and that was just kind of funny. Apparently the metadata though in the song like moves, so it's not really like all of their plays are just kind of fucking gone. you know, because you get that like surge, you know, first few days of plays, right? And it's like that would suck for those just to be gone. So, you know, but I think they're good. I think Cam said that like the metadata actually moves with the song, so like all those plays aren't lost, thank God. But just so funny, man. It's hilarious. Like, it's so unfortunate, but it's so funny that happens, especially because it's happened twice now. But yeah, go check that out. Go check Dime White T-shirt out. I think you'll like it. And I think too, like, what's cool is so the Gatsby Records guys that run the podcast, they've been doing like playlists, which I said like a while ago I was gonna start doing. Like, this was an idea I had like quite a while ago. Like, I should do playlists of like artists that have been on the podcast, and I could do like a bunch of different ones. And I never did it. And I think just because, like, you know, part of me like staying busy is like fun, but I think like, you know, like I have 3 Instagram accounts, right? Like, I have my personal one, and then I have one for the band, and then one for the podcast. And I don't like post like that much on my personal account, really. I try to stay semi-active on the band account, and then I don't even post too much, other than just like pretty standard shit on the We Should Jam Sometime one. But it's like, fuck, to constantly just like be promoting it in people's face. Like, I don't want to be that guy, but which, I mean, I don't know. It's kind of like the balance of just like, you know, do you want to do it or what? But I just think just like I'm the guy that, you know, the rest of the guys don't really post on social media too much. You know, like Nick and Hayden like don't use it at all. Or like Hayden doesn't really use it at all. Nick the odd time will like post a photo on Instagram, but like that's kind of it. So I think so, like, just because I'm the guy, like, I'm posting about music, and then I'm posting about Lost Arts, and then I'm posting about podcasts, and just to have like these other things of like, and then also follow these playlists, you know. But I still think it's a great idea. Like, I still think that it would be cool to have one of like any guest I've had on gets added to the playlist, and then I could have other playlists that I do. But I don't know. I also just don't think, like, I think I have a strange taste in music. Like, I don't think it's that eclectic. Like, I do listen to a lot of different kinds of music, but it's like my like rock knowledge is like there's a lot of bands in there, but then like with hip hop it's like 4 or 5 guys maybe, you know. I don't really listen to country music, like pop artists, not that much. There's like a few folk art, like it could be definitely better. Like there's guys I know that fucking listen to everything and know all these bands, and I like obviously love finding like new bands or whatever, but I don't know, I just get really like obsessive about stuff. Yeah, so the my whole point in starting all that was that the Gatsby guys started an MIA playlist with, I don't know how many songs are on it, but it's good shit, man. I should pull it up. But it's obviously like a quality idea. They got an MIA playlist. Everybody can follow it. Everybody can fucking, you know, it's a great idea. They threw Lost Arts on there, so thank you guys so much. Best Wishes is on a couple playlists actually. Which is cool. Sorry, I'm just looking for this thing just to show everybody that's kind of on it. Does it say how many songs is on it? It doesn't, but there's quite a bit. Like, so we got like, you know, like I said, Lost Arts and Nella's on there. Day Trip, Lost in Japan, Texas King, Willem, Charlie the Kid, you know, Brighter Green, Dime, Sneaker Club, bunch of different people. Jailbirds, Perfect Limbs, Half Moon Run, you know, bunch of different artists. There's more than that. I just named off some of them. But it's a great idea. So thanks to those guys for including us in that. It's also weird, man. Like, I don't know why they picked Best Wishes. If it was just like, it is our most played song. But like Best Wishes got added to this stoner rock playlist. It's not like a Spotify curated one. It's just like this guy, and the playlist has like a fuck ton of followers, but it's also got like a fuck ton of songs on it, you know, which is like, just in terms of like plays, it's tough because if somebody's gonna constantly have that on shuffle, then, you know, the odds of our song coming up more than once is obviously less. But it's funny to look at like our because some weeks it must not come up in the shuffle very often, and then other weeks it must come up like quite a bit, because like some weeks we'll have like a ton of plays on that song, and then other weeks we don't have that many. But it just seems like Best Wishes was sort of the pick for that. But anyway, so yeah, thanks to the Gatsby guys for throwing us on there. It's cool to be on a playlist with a bunch of our friends. I think like the weird thing about that is it's cool to be like, this is an MIA thing, but like the part that keeps me like away from just doing like a random we should jam sometime one is just like, if you wanted to listen, like if you didn't want to jump around in music that much, because like if you look at everybody that's been on, like you could have like, it'd be like, I mean, I guess most of it would make a lot of sense. You get like Anella and like Willem and O Geronimo. Even Basic White fits in with that. Lost in Japan kind of fits in with that. Brighter Green. There's a lot of indie rock, And like Perfect Limbs though is like hardcore. Like Wrong Brothers is like solid rock. Like you could just have that on there. Maybe it's not that bad. Now that I'm thinking about it. Yeah, I should fucking do that. I just don't have like a We Should Jam Sometime account. Like it would just be under my like Caleb Thompson account. Anyway, we'll see how long I talk about that until I fucking actually do it. But anyway, I have like a lot of notes today, so I try not to stop talking. But on the topic of Lost Arts, we went into Sugar Shack yesterday in town. It was fucking wonderful. Thank you so much to Kyle Ashbourne for hanging out with us all day and just working his wizardry, man. Like we did the EP just like by ourselves, and there's a lot of learning curves with that. Like I'm not an engineer, and like I didn't have a whole lot of part in that, and in terms of like engineering it. Carl did a lot of work, and he did a lot of great work on that. And I'm still happy with it, but I think that even just, we did 2 songs yesterday. We finished them, in like under 10 hours. It was like a 10-hour session, and we did it in less than that. And, unmixed, the songs already sound better, and I'm so excited about them. And I think like it got the guys pumped up. Like, I was talking to Nick like earlier today, and he's like, dude, like, because Nick had to peel off a little bit early as soon as he did guitars to go to work, and he was like, dude, that was so fucking fun. Like I was so bummed I had to leave. Hayden had a great time. There's like I love Hayden so much, man, but it's so funny because like he just is like a very like can be like a very stoic guy, and like early on in the session Kyle was like told him to go back and like play bass or whatever. I think they were figuring out tones. And Hayden's like a total gearhead, man. Like his tone is like one of the best bass tones around. Like the guy fucking knows what's up. And he's just like so like almost like sad. And he was just like, he's like, I mean, like I got my tone in there, but like if you want to change anything, like that's fine. I'm not that confident. And he goes in. I was like, he's happier than he sounds right now. It's just his way he is. But no, man, it was so fun, man, and we were trying some new stuff like with harmonies and stuff, and everybody was digging it, and the guitar tones, man, huge, real huge. And like Sugar Shack's so cool, man. It's like on the outside it does not look like it's a recording studio, and you go in and it's just like the coziest fucking like cottage or whatever almost, man. It's so badass. And there's gear everywhere. Like it's a lot of like vintage gear, man. Like a lot of the mics we had, vintage mics, and like guitars everywhere, drums everywhere. Kyle's a drummer, so there's just like drums galore. And yeah, it's so wicked to record there, man. And so yeah, we get there and we did 2 songs. If you've been to our shows, you've heard them. We're really pumped on the ones like new. We've been closing with it since January. And we're like, this is the direction. I think we think we hit it, which is weird, man. Like, cause sometimes like the song you think is like, no, but there's like, the reason we picked the 2 songs that we picked was because we're not shooting for an EP right now. We're not totally settled in the sound, and I think that although like I would love to go do an EP with Kyle, though I think that Sugar Shack is like a common spot for artists to pick in London because it's a little more cost effective, than going to some other studios. But I think that, in the future I would definitely do more research, and looking, like, if we were gonna like really do an EP, like I would do a lot more research on engineers and what they're doing and stuff. But like, I think that we were a really good fit with Kyle. Like, I think that that was something that he really enjoyed working with us, and that was so cool. Because, man, like with MIA, man, like you go in and you're like, okay, so tonight we have a 3-hour time slot from fucking like 11 to 2, and we're going to get there, and the first hour and a half is going to be like, there's going to be problems, and then hopefully we can get going. And it's just, I remember the first time the night we went in, we were going to try to get beds for like 4, if not all 5 of the songs for the EP. And we got Explain Me Away done because like there was just issues, and it sucks, but that's kind of the point of it, of MIA. So it was nice to be like, we're going in, we're paying a guy that knows what the fuck he's doing, and there's not going to be any issues. And we went in like prepared, like we knew what was up. Like a big reason why we were recording is I think now, man, like it's the singles game, man, and I think that we have a bunch of new songs that we're happy with and we think are good, but they're not an EP. Like, they're not totally there yet. And I think that these are some good transitional songs right now to put out, and just keep things rolling, keep things in the, keep us in people's news and the people and like in the know and stuff, yeah, it was so much fun. I'm trying to think of like, oh man, it's so fun, dude. Hayden is fucking allergic as shit to cats and like dogs and stuff, which sucks. What a shitty allergy to have. But Sugar Shack has a cat there, Winston. A good little cat, actually, man. I'm not like a huge cat guy, but like this cat fucking just chills, which is dope. And so Hayden's like real allergic, and he was hanging out all day with that thing, and he was not having fun when we left. He's not like deathly allergic. He's just like, he was real itchy. But anyway, yeah, so be on the lookout for that. I know it might be like a while till we get the mixes back, but Kyle said that he was real stoked on doing it, so who knows. But we left like real happy. So, and I've been like texting some of my friends being like, get fucking ready for these songs, man. Because it's like, I don't know, man. I know they're good. And I know they're better than what we have. And I'm so stoked on them, man. I'm so stoked on them. But, there it is. I think we're going to start doing some, sorry, I'm like, my nose is all runny. I think we're going to start doing some Instagram live videos. I'm kind of just taking that from other bands there, but I think it's a good idea, I think that I think just kind of checking in even like once a month with just like, or once every 2 weeks or something, with just like, we're going live tonight and we're going to play a couple songs, maybe do some covers or whatever. I think that keeping that engagement with people that are interested in what you're doing is so important. And like we had that whole conversation with Charlie the Kid, right? Of like, he is always on Instagram Live, and it's always so fun to watch. And dude, he did a thing a couple weeks ago, just all throughout his day. He sang a song like every little 15-second clip or whatever. Just throughout his day, he would film himself, and it'd be like the next line. It was so genius. And he did it for like the whole song. And I think it like started as a joke, and it just ended up like he did the whole song, which is fucking badass. But yeah, I think Nick and I are just gonna like grab some acoustic guitars, or like he'll at least just grab his acoustic, and we're gonna do some songs. So I think that's a good idea, and it'll like keep us honest, I think, and go like Lost Stars just doesn't like, we don't move forward enough. I don't think. I think like when we get together, it's good, but there's not enough like behind the scenes work sometimes, I think. Which is definitely, if I could fix anything with that band, I think that would be it. Like, there's not just like enough homework done, But I still love those guys to death, and I think that these new songs are gonna be. It breathed a little bit more life into the band, so we just gotta get more shows pumping. I fucking hate booking, man. I wish I could get somebody to book for us. It's just, dude, it's such a pain in the fucking ass. Because it's like, you want to be playing, but like, you want to be playing like good fucking shows. And, you know, finding other bands sometimes is a hassle. But I don't know. We had a pretty bad streak, and like, I've had a pretty bad streak just recently with like all those rejections, and like, I had to move a Hamilton show because like no band was available. Like locals were available that night. That was really fucked up. I was like really starting to question everything. But I had a really good chat last weekend. Like, yeah, it would have been like not this past weekend, but the one before. I won't say like who it was because like I name drop a lot on here, and I think that's like makes me feel better if I name drop. But I'm definitely like said this guy's name a bunch, just through multiple podcasts. But I think we're like good friends, man, and I'm glad that we are. I'm really thankful for like to have a relationship with somebody that's like really killing it right now with their music, and they're really happy. And I think that is somebody calling me right now? Okay, dude, this fucking. I don't want to do your survey, Fanshaw. How about that? Stop fucking calling me. They were calling me with a different number, and I was like, I'm sorry, I'm not interested. And she was like mad that I didn't want to take her survey, you know, and it's like, dude, it was fine. And then I was like, I didn't want to take it, and they took that as I didn't have a good time at Fanshawe. They're like, well, why wasn't your time at Fanshawe like desirable? And I was like, I had a great fucking time there. Like, I didn't say that. I said I had a great time. It was, you know, best 2 years of my life. I don't want to sit here and waste my time with like dumb fucking survey questions. I'm sorry. I don't want to do that. And then they're like, we're going to enter you in like a draw, or no, if you do it, you get a $5 gift card to like one of these like 5 places. Like, cool, $5. That's awesome. How many thousands did I give you? You can give me $5 back. And then you get entered into a draw for like $100 Walmart card. Wicked. Sweet. How about that? How about it just give me the $100 Walmart card for doing your survey? Anyway, sorry about that. Yeah, so I had this conversation, and I was like bummed out, man. These guys are about to like go off and do this wicked tour, and you know, he's like, how are things going? And I was like, and the thing too, man, it was like I was like getting really depressed for like a few weeks, and just about music and doing this thing, and I was like, honestly, man, like not that good. And I kind of just like filled him in on what was going on, and he gave me some like good advice, man. And the one big thing he was like, dude, we didn't even get into CMW last year. They just like, the promoter to the Horseshoe just was like, you guys can come play this showcase. You're just on the showcase. Don't worry about it. You know. And he was, my buddy was like, just, you know, you shouldn't worry about that rejection, like, because it's gonna come, you know, and you shouldn't worry about what other people are doing, you know, and I know that, you know, and I think with anything, man, like, it's frustrating seeing people sit around and not do anything and get rewarded for that when it feels like you're working your ass off and not getting anything in return. That's tough, you know, and with anything, man. Like, and I think it is hard. I think it's probably hard for fucking superstar, you know, musicians or athletes or whatever, right? But it does suck, and I'm always in this weird place of like, I know that, you know, but it still sucks. But it was a good conversation, because he really did kind of put things into perspective a little bit, you know. And he said something like, I'm trying to remember the conversation, but it was something like, you know, he's like, you know, we are feeling like, you know, things are kind of working out a little bit, but like, I think that, you know, I would feel awful if I had friends that thought differently of me because like there was success. He's like, I always want to be able to talk to fans or talk to like my friends or talk to whoever, like nothing has happened, because sometimes people put that on you too. And that's something that I've talked about with like other guests or whatever that have been on this, of like going home and like high school friends being like, dude, it's dope, you're like famous now. And it's like, I'm not, you know, and like, I'm really not, you know, not like my buddy where it's like really working out for them. It's like, I'm really not, you know. It's cool that maybe you like look at our Instagram or whatever and maybe think that, but like, you know, those are just good camera angles. There really wasn't that many people at that show or whatever, right? And I just think like, I don't know. Like, I don't know. I just think that, I think it's okay to feel upset if you get rejected for something, or if something doesn't go your way. I don't think that it's not healthy though to, you know, be constantly watching what other people are doing. Because, I mean, and this is like really running into like, really fucking obvious, like cliche territory here, but just like if you're focusing on other people, you're not focusing on yourself. And I think that, you know, choosing, it's funny, and I think that, you know, this is said a lot with like, you know, comedians or actors or whatever. It's like the most vulnerable people in the world get put into these situations where like you have to get rejected. Like, you know, actors are like generally like emotional people, right? And they're going into these audition situations where like the likelihood is that you're going to get rejected. And it's the same thing with music, man. Like the likelihood is you're going to get rejected. And that's honestly like a negative point to MIA, is you're generally in this bubble of people that support you, you know, which was like part of the reason that it was very frustrating in MIA, because in my year there were so many bands that Lost Arts just fell under this fucking nobody seemed to care as much, you know. And there's bands that weren't working as hard, and it was like, I hope they win band of the year, I hope whatever. And it's like, fuck that, man. Like, we've been working our asses off and nobody seems to fucking care, you know. And there's people that did, man, especially like Mike Roth, like our prof, like was like really fucking good and supportive of us. But what's great about that is like we got a lot of opportunities before other bands did, and you know, we've stayed sort of relevant, you know. And a lot of other bands that I went to school with did, you know. But a lot of the bands, or I shouldn't say a lot, like some bands though, they got like a lot of notoriety in MIA, aren't doing anything now, you know. And it's just like, don't focus on that shit. Like, focus on the future, you know, and enjoy a moment when it happens, you know. I think that that's important. And there was a while there in June where like we had like 2 really fucking killer shows, and I was like, this is the best, you know. I can't, nothing can go wrong. And then it's like just kind of been shitty now for a little bit. But I don't know. I'm trying to like get better at that and not take everything so personally. But I think just like keeping those friendships alive and keeping those connections alive with people that are doing well and that I can respect. You know, it feels good when those people are like, man, I love, you know, never hesitate to send me a message, or never hesitate to like reach out, because like I care about you and I love talking to you. So never hesitate to kind of to do that, you know, which is awesome, man. And I who probably isn't listening to this, but if you are, you know who you are, and thank you, because I really I needed that chat, you know. And sometimes like, you know, sometimes it does matter like who tells you stuff, you know what I mean? Because like somebody could tell you the same thing you tell yourself, or, you know, it's like your mom says that she likes your music, and she could like legitimately be like, I actually really fucking did like that, but it doesn't hold the same weight as if somebody like in another band that you really respect, you know, comes up to you and says, hey man, that was awesome. You're like, oh, okay, fucking cool, you know, because your mom's supposed to tell you that she liked it, you know. And some people are supposed to tell you that everything's going to be okay, but sometimes you need, you know, somebody that you look up to like that to tell you, it's, dude, relax, you know. And I hope too, like, I mean, not to be like I'm probably a role model, but like if somebody, you know, does like this that I do, or they do like the band or whatever, and they did need help, man, like fucking definitely reach out to me, man. Like I think that, you know, I'm here and I do this podcast because I love talking to musicians, and honestly, like it does like get me through, you know, and I do like meeting other artists, and you know, I would hope that one day somebody would maybe need a little some help or guidance or something, and they could reach out to me, you know. I don't know. I do this. I don't, you know, sometimes I don't know why I do the podcast, but when I do one, I'm like, I fucking love doing this, you know. And I think like, I don't know. And I wish I knew better how to grow it. But on that note, we're over 30 minutes, people. And I think I'm kind of talking in circles. So one way to grow it is for you listening to like it and share it. And if you're listening on like iTunes, give the show like a rate, and fucking just go to the review page and be like, this is a great podcast. Just like, Caleb, you be cool. But yeah, go listen to the last interview with Excuse Me. That was a really, really fun episode. Those guys are cool. Those guys are a great up-and-coming band from Guelph. I had a blast, man. That one was like one of the most fun podcasts I've done. So thank you guys. If anybody from Excuse Me is hearing this, thank you so much. And like one thing that I found interesting was like all those guys have a hand in their social media, which is really interesting. So I think like, you know, I grow stale with ideas sometimes, and it's just like, and like nobody else in the band, like sometimes Drake has like really good ideas, but like nobody else in the band is thinking of like how to post on Instagram or whatever. But I did hit Nick up with that Instagram live thing today, and he was like, he had some ideas, so that was cool. But yeah, and then next we have Craig Gignac, and I laughed because it's not spelled that way. I thought it was Gignac, and it's not. He came on the podcast this past weekend, so he'll be on. That'll be out next week. Great fucking dude, man. He is currently playing bass. Excuse me. Got them coffee burps. He's currently playing bass in Jesus Christ. He's currently playing bass in Basic White, and what else is it? He was playing bass for a little bit in Legal Kill. That was fucking cool. He sang in this band that broke up, I think before, like just after I got to London, called Radio Caroline, and holy fucking shit, man, go check that band out. Wicked. Craig's a singer in that band. Fucking wicked. And he plays like bass and a bunch of other shit too. So it's cool. He's a fucking super cool dude, and somebody been like wanting to have him on for a while. I just haven't had him on. So that was cool, man. That was fun too. He was just, I was like, it'll be a different dynamic because he's not like just a guy in a band. Like he's been in a bunch of bands and he does a lot of shit. So that was a really fun episode. So be on the lookout for that one. And that's kind of it. We got a couple that just like aren't recorded yet, so I'm not going to talk about those yet. Go listen to the new Basic White album. Go listen to Dime's new single. Oh, and go fucking, why, if you didn't watch, or I was going to say or listen, but it's only on video form. Watch that. Holy fuck, dude. Let me reach out that. If you didn't watch the Explain Me Away acoustic video, go check that out. It's on YouTube. It's on our Facebook. It's on our Instagram. Our like IGTV. Go check that out. And go watch the actual Explain Me Away video. The original one. Because it's getting close to 1,000 views. And it'd be cool to see it there. So go check that out. And yeah, go listen to Lost Arts on whatever streaming service you prefer. Tell your friends about us. Tell your friends about the podcast, man. Tell one friend about Lost Arts, and then tell another friend about we should jam sometime, or tell both friends about both. Anyway, thank you so much for listening, and we'll fucking talk to you later. Bye.